Hi, my name's Karen E. Wells and welcome to Module 1 on this Life Between Lives course. Now, Module 1 is all about the history of life between lives, which we like to call LBL for short. And it's also about looking at the role of Michael Newton within the work of LBL. Before we move into Module 1, it's worth noting that if you're listening to this via the Udemy app, then you may have had trouble actually downloading the training manual PDF. At the time of recording, there's actually an issue with the Udemy app, which is meaning that if you're using it, you're not able to download any PDFs. It's not a problem at all. It just means that you would normally have to use a desktop computer to download it, or if you still have an issue and you only have a tablet or a phone that you're accessing this on, just drop us an email and we'll send the PDF to you via email. The reason I mention that is that it's really important that as we move through the video modules that you do refer back to the training manual. So it's really great if you've got a copy of that either printed off or down with you so that you can refer back to it. It just helps to cement your learning for this wonderful course. So let's move now into Module 1. If we look at the history of LBL and Michael Newton, first of all, Michael Newton was the absolute pioneer for this work. He was an amazing guy who was a traditional psychiatrist who did a little bit of regression work within his private practice. He was mostly around within the 60s and 70s, going within to the 80s as well, but he first kind of stumbled across the world of LBL really by accident, with one of his clients in his private practice in the 1970s. Now, how that happened was that he was dealing with a client that came to him that really was dealing with a sense of loss in her life. She felt she'd never had anybody that she'd been able to connect with, and she'd always had these feelings of loss. He then regressed his client back to the root cause, to the origin of this sense of loss. And she sat bolt upright in his actual chair within his office. As she sat bolt upright, she pointed out in front of her, obviously with her eyes closed because she was in regression, and said that, look, there they are. There's my group of people. These are the people I've been searching for my whole life. And it seems that I've made a contract, an agreement, not to incarnate with these people during this lifetime. Now, at this point, Michael Newton had absolutely no idea what this lady was referring to. It was only as he delved deeper with her and then started to do this with other people did he become aware that this was a process within the LBL world. So what this lady was referring to was actually her soul group, and you'll get to know that more as we move through the video modules in the training manual. Now, the soul group is something that's very dear to nearly everybody. It's a group of souls that you reincarnate with for most of your lifetimes, but occasionally we choose a life with a lesson to learn where those souls are not around us, so we can feel quite lonely. Maybe you've had that feeling yourself or know other people that might feel like that. But for Michael Newton, this was the beginning of a whole new journey for him. He started to regress clients and got them and pioneered a specific way to actually take them into their memories, into spirit, into the world between lives, and got them to actually visit their soul group amongst several other parts that we stop at as well. His career spanned really 30, 40 years, and he did 7,000 clients during that time. He had the most wonderful wife at his side who let him do 2, 3, 4 clients a day. Now, these, with the definition of an LBL session, as we move through into this course, you'll find that they're very long sessions. So the sessions themselves are actually longer than past life regression. We'll look at the structure of the actual session itself and how you take somebody into an LBL session. So from that aspect, it's quite clear that you must already have experience of past life regression if you want to really explore this with your clients. This course is aimed also, of course, at people that want to experience their own LBL session, and one of the later modules does give you a chance to do that, but primarily this course is aimed at people that do want to expand their knowledge of regression and to help clients to do that. So that brings together really the history of LBL and the role of Michael Newton. Once the 1980s were passed, he then formed what's commonly known as the Newton Institute, based in California in the USA, and then retired actually from service to the world, you might call it. I was actually lucky enough to meet Michael Newton in 2011 when I was one of the training team in California. I've actually been part of the Newton Institute training team, so I met Michael and I've helped train people all over the world in this aspect. Unfortunately, he died in 2016, so he's no longer with us. He's now probably having his permanent LBL experience. But this module will give you an insight into the history and the role that Michael played into bringing this really into Western consciousness. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Module 2.